healthy. Because when you make it more popularized and when you make it more normal to integrate these kinds of what you call this healthy trends between something popular, then people will be more likely to go on a trend that becomes more healthy. And that's why we find that even on your side, all your values are not mutually exclusive. And because of this, we believe that opposition wins.
I thank the BNO for that speech. Speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 29 seconds. I now call upon the government whip to close the case. Sheetal.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, from Team Proposition here, we have proved to you exactly why we need the change. And we have proved to you exactly why people need the change. And we have proved to you exactly why government needs to bring the change. But on the other hand, from Team Opposition, they have again and again denied the basic issue. And they have tried to take it on a different stand. And they could not prove to us exactly why we need to make a healthier choice and exactly why government should not be helping us in the issue. Therefore, Honourable Speaker, we essentially take the debate home. Being the third speaker from Team Proposition, at first I'll be identifying the clashes. Basically, the whole debate can be boiled down to three key clashes. The first clash being the clash about economic interest. Now, the clash about economic interest can actually be explained on two levels. On the state level, what we actually look at is what we actually need to look at is the bigger picture. What they spoke about in the state level is when we actually subsidize these things, the businesses will fall down, and when the businesses will fall down, it will actually harm the states. But actually, that is not the fact. When we actually subsidize these healthier choices, we will have an efficient healthcare system. And not only that, when you subsidize something, you have more business going on out there. So we don't really see how the point of business is substantially falling out there. So business does not even fall, and the state does not really receive any economical concerns. Therefore, it is an economical choice for us to subsidize these things. Because, Honourable Speaker, on the immediate run, we actually see we gain more profit, and that's exactly what we need, Honourable Speaker. On the point of business level, they actually assume that a lot of businesses are going to fall, and a lot of people are maybe going to go out of jobs, and that is going to harm us since the whole world is going through a recession. But, Honourable Speaker, what they actually fail to realize is when we subsidize something, firstly, that being a healthier choice, what will actually happen is people will go towards that. We even talked about research institutions, how they can actually make people go towards that, how they can actually help us take policies which will make people go towards that. Eventually, people go towards that, and eventually, business goes on, flourishes, and the business goes on and flourishes in a healthier manner. So what happens is people who are involved in the business do not really fall out of business, and the business does not at all fall, the business keeps on increasing. So the whole point of economic interest actually goes to our side. We actually prove to you how our policy is economically more profitable for the state itself, and how our policy does not have any economic backdrop, and on the longer run, we actually gain more profit from the whole thing. Now, Honourable Speaker, the second point that they could not clarify properly is the clash about health interest, whether it is a healthier choice or not. Now, firstly, they have accepted the fact that fast foods are not really a healthy choice, but they do not accept the fact that we should subsidize fast food, and they think it won't be a healthier choice because it's not even possible. They have actually talked about in the first speech how they are going to subsidize the fast food, and by subsidizing the fast food, they are going to make sure people have healthier choices. But, Honourable Speaker, from our team, we have spoken again and again how these fast foods are not actually going to make the transition. Therefore, we have actually proposed what we need to do, the change. We have spoken about research centers, we have spoken about subsidizing the restaurants, we have spoken about subsidizing the farms, which actually want to bring a change, which actually want to bring a positive change, and actually want to bring this whole thing of vegetarianism into vogue. Therefore, we subsidize those terms. When we actually subsidize fast food and all those things, they do not make healthier choices. There is no assurance they are going to take us towards a healthier place. But on the other hand, when we subsidize what we want to subsidize, within our definition, these institutions will actually make sure that the money is spent properly, because that is the very aim. These institutions, the healthier institutions, actually depend on these very healthier options for their profit. Therefore, when we spend on healthcare institutions, there is an assurance that these institutions, firstly, will make healthier choices. On the other hand, fast food companies like McDonald's, they won't make healthier choices because they haven't made it. Only until recently they have brought in few alterations because they want to boom their business. But that is not going to make healthier choices. On the other hand, our options, they make healthier choices. And on the second hand, when we subsidize the whole thing, the cost reduces. And when the cost reduces, what will actually happen is the people will actually want to make healthier choice. We have proven you again and again how healthier choice have actually become impossible for the poor people to take. The poor people want to be healthy. Every single person wants to be healthy. But why do they still go to those fast food chains? Because they are comparatively cheap. On the other hand, when we subsidize this, they have healthier options available right at hand, and they have healthier options available at a cheaper option, and therefore they make those healthier choices and they go towards those healthier policies. And that is exactly, Honorable Speaker, what we have proposed from Team Proposition. We have shown you exactly why government needs to prioritize better things, government needs to prioritize other things to make sure that we are actually getting a healthier system out of the whole thing, and not fast food, not subsidized fast food, not subsidized things like cattle. And Honorable Speaker, we have also proven to you exactly how people have better options when we subsidize these institutions we talk about and not the ones they talk about. And that way even people can get the things in a better manner and people make healthier choices. So Honorable Speaker, when it comes to health, we actually see the point of subsidizing what they say does not really help us, or carrying on the status quo does not really help us. Rather, what we need to do is make healthier choices and subsidize on healthier institutions. Yes, ma'am.
We still see that you have not proven how these people are going to eat vegetarianism. We see that fast food, the majority of people are eating fast food, and with our policy, we're making fast food more healthier and with more vegetables. We see that the people are going to eat that, and they're going to be more healthy at the end of the day.
Exactly, Honorable Speaker, we have been trying to make fast foods healthier. It's been 50 or 100 of years now, but it did not really turn healthier. The world is growing fat and obesity is killing us. We need to change the scenario. At least we propose a change, and not only that, we show you how that change is totally possible to bring in, and how that change is totally something that is going to do what we need to achieve. On the other hand, we have actually seen this fast food change, not really changing anything. They have not given us better options, and that is why, as my first speaker has even said, 40% of people in US are actually under risk of obesity. We need to change the scenario. To change the scenario, the only thing that we can do right now is take this immediate decision. Therefore, on the point of health interest, we certainly take this class home. And the third class that took place is the class about choice, the one she's actually speaking about. So what I do not get is, when I have actually better options at my hand, when they are more convenient and when they are more cheap and when they are healthy, why I would not take them? See, when a person is poor, he does not take healthy foods because he does not have enough money to take healthy foods. And that is why in costly restaurants nowadays, the new in thing is taking healthy foods and vegetarian foods. But that is not a discriminating picture. We want to exist in the correct earth. We want to bring everyone. We want to ensure that there is a certain level of standard for everyone ensured out there, so that they can work in their lives properly. And for that, we actually see they do not make healthier choices because they cannot make. But when we ensure they can make healthier choices, and when it's affordable, the ensured fact is they will be making healthier choices. That is a by default fact, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, on basis of these three clashes, we easily take the debate home. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I thank the government whip for his speech. Speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 16 seconds. I now call upon the opposition whip, Ayman, to close the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that I can assume in this debate is this side of the house is very assumptuous, and for the sake of healthy lifestyle, they simply assume that their policy is going to work. Let me clarify to you, ladies and gentlemen, how does their policy in terms of subsidizing vegetarian option is not going to work, and our counter proposal from side opposition is much more effective and going to have a much more effective and also going to be more beneficial towards the consumers, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, we need to consider the fact that both sides seem to agree that the main priority of this motion and the main intention of this motion is for the sake of for the healthiness of the consumers itself. But let us weigh and compare and contrast which of this policy from side government and side opposition is way more better, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, the mechanism brought forth by the side of proposition is that they are going to fund each and every restaurant, each and every movement of farm and factories that are pro-vegetable. And they say to the House that, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to subsidize these things when it is organic, ladies and gentlemen. Let us really consider the cost that they're talking about. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, when you want to subsidize and you want to fund each and every institution that are pro-vegetable, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be costly. And can we really concede to the fact that the government are going to have the ability to bear the cost? We need to consider the fact that right now the world is having economic recession. United States are having an economic downfall, and even the Europe are totally collapsing in terms of economy, ladies and gentlemen. And do you really consider the fact that these governments can actually provide and allocate their money for the sake of vegetarian option simply because the government think that it is the correct thing? We say no. What we need to prioritize right now is for the sake of the consumer's health. But we also need to consider the fact that we are having economic recession. So what is the better option is what the side opposition counter propose, which is we would like to subsidize fast food. In what term, ladies and gentlemen? Which is we're going to reduce the calories, we're going to reduce the sugar, we're going to reduce the substances which are harmful to the consumers itself. By this policy, ladies and gentlemen, we say at the end of the day, the people are still going to choose fast food, and then they are gaining in terms of healthiness, ladies and gentlemen. Rather than putting the government's money into an uncertain position, which the side opposition have to clarify to you. At the end of the day, these vegetarian option which are going to subsidize is not going to be confirmed to be consumed by the consumers. Yes, sir.
You talk about costs. What's cheaper? Making me eat tomatoes or curing me for vasculitis, diabetes, liver cancer, and all diseases confounded with obesity?
Ladies and gentlemen, we do consider the fact that this is a moral act from said government. But we need to get back into logic, ladies and gentlemen. Can we simply allocate a large amount of money into various industries which are pro-vegetable when in reality that people don't really eat vegetable? Which one do you prefer, ladies and gentlemen? KFC coleslaw, or is it that KFC's potato chips and KFC's mashed potato, ladies and gentlemen? At the end of the day, people are still opting for mashed potato rather than coleslaw, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you really do subsidize this coleslaw, at the end of the day, people are not going to consume it. And the only thing that you're doing is wasting the money, ladies and gentlemen. Sit down, sir. And then, second of all, in terms of at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, even if their proposal is going to work, at the end of the day, you're going to need more money. And where do the government get more money? The answer is simple, through taxpayers. At the end of the day, government are going to demand more from taxpayers, even though the money is not going to be confirmed to be benefiting the taxpayers themselves. We say from side opposition, not each and every taxpayers are opting for vegetarian option. At the end of the day, there are some people who prefer meat over the vegetarian. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, because the taxpayers' money are not getting back to the taxpayers. And this is totally an immoral act from the side government because they are prioritizing minor people which are choosing vegetarian options. Sit down, sir. And second of all, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of my analysis, in terms of harm that they're saying, they say to the House that right now people are choosing fast food which are totally damaging to the health, ladies and gentlemen. They clarify to the House in terms of diseases and so on and so forth. But we say from side opposition, what is the better way for us to solve this problem is by reducing the calories, reducing the amount of harmful substances in the human's health. That is the first option. And second of all, ladies and gentlemen, even if, second of all, ladies and gentlemen, even if you really do choose for vegetables at the end of the day, this is the counter analysis that I come up, ladies and gentlemen. When there is a large demand in terms of vegetables, you need to meet that demand by producing more. And how do you do that? Is by scientific modification. That is when GMF, that is when cross-pollination, that is when chemicals chemicals comes in. And at the end of the day, the only thing that you're producing is not a healthy food. At the end of the day, what you're producing is a much more damaging effect towards the consumer's health. Because we do consider the fact that although that there are scientific researchers and so on and so forth that assume GMF is safe enough for the sake of the consumption of people, but at the end of the day, through scientific researches itself, it has been proven that GMF is totally damaging to the human cell. So what at the end of the day, are you prioritizing the consumer's health, or are you not, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, sir.
Okay, disregarding that matter, let's assume that their case lies. Why do you then trust these responsibilities to be healthy to people who want profit, like corporations and McDonald's?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, they stated to the House that they are going to subsidize KFC and McDonald's too when these corporate companies are opting for vegetarian option. How are you going to make sure that these profit intention companies are going to go by the rules of the government side? There's no clarification. There's nothing, there is assurance from the side government, ladies and gentlemen. So we say from side opposition, our counter proposal is pretty much better. And also, ladies and gentlemen, they talk about preventive measure. They say that by subsidizing this vegetable option, people are going to get a healthier lifestyle. So they have to spend less when it comes to health, to medical attention, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we simply go on with Obama's policy when it comes to healthy plan? Why should we simply subsidize the vegetarian option when there is no assurance that these are going to be consumed by the consumers? Why don't we simply subsidize the people when it comes to medical attention, ladies and gentlemen? Something that has not been clarified by side government. So with that, I end my speech.
House thanks the opposition for his speech. Speaker spoke for 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Audiences are requested to maintain silence, please. Disturb the adjudicators. Both sides have common minute to prepare for the reply speeches if you need them. House calls upon the opposition reply speaker.
What the government has keep coming up and saying is that their main principle is actually just because it is cheaper, people are actually going to buy it more. We said that is actually a pure assumption that just people are going to buy it more because it's cheaper. We said actually the people's lifestyle is actually based on fast food nowadays. And we said in order to actually solve that problem, what we have to do is actually change it step by step, which is our policy. So let me move on to my 3 questions which may rise up in your mind. The first question is subsidizing and which is decreasing the price really going to work? We see that on their side, subsidizing and decreasing price is not going to work because we see it is actually burdening the government, because we said the government all around the world is actually have to bear the burden of the recession, and we see that the government has to pay more and use more budget and it's going to be costly. And we said if the government doesn't have much money, what they're going to do is just going to go and tax the people. And we said, isn't that fair? Why do we have to tax the people? And why do we have to tax the people when the government should not just go and waste money when there's no assurance that people are just going to go and choose your vegetarian choice? So moving on to my second question, which side is actually incentivizing these people? We said on their side, they're not incentivizing these people at all. They're saying that they're going to make it cheaper. But we said the people's lifestyle is actually based on fast food. And what we're doing is that making fast food more healthier. So it's going to let these people actually change their lifestyle step by step, making these people eat fast food, which is more healthier. And we're saying that just because going vegetarian and just
subsidizing it. There's no guarantee, and we're just changing the entire lifestyle of these people, which is no insurance and no proof. There's no proof coming out of the government side. So moving on to my third question, which side is actually fulfilling the government role? We both agree that the government role is actually to protect the people, but we're saying that that side is actually only acknowledging the consumers, which we are acknowledging the consumers and the businesses. We see that on their side. They're saying that the consumers are going to get harmed at the end of the day, and it's going to get about the price of healthcare. But we're saying that our policy is actually solving that problem as well, because what we're doing is actually make fast food more healthier, which means that more people is going to eat it, and there's already a guarantee that people are going to eat these fast food are healthier because they're actually already eating fast food. So, and we're also saying that about the companies, we're saying that their side is not acknowledging the companies at all, because we're saying that the companies, if it actually subsidize it at the first place, we're saying that there's going to be a decrease of price and a decrease of income, which is not going to let these companies have the income that they actually deserve. And we're saying, and so their side is not actually acknowledging all the people in the society, which we are actually doing. So we see at the end of the debate, we said the government side has only been coming up with assumptions just because it's cheaper, people will buy. Which we're saying that there's actually already a trend which people are eating fast food, and what we have to do is actually solve this problem step by step, starting with the fact that people are eating fast food. So we should start to make fast food more healthier rather than just subsidizing the vegetarian choice, because we see that it would be a waste of money at the end of the day, because their side has not proven to us how people are going to go and choose the vegetarian choice at the end of the day. So we see that we should not subsidize the vegetarian choice, because aside from actually not incentivizing these people at the end of the day, we said it costs the government a lot of money to subsidize these companies, and we also see that it's not acknowledging these businesses. Is going to let these businesses have less income. So we see at the end of the day it only causes more harm. Thank you.
I thank the opposition reply speaker for her speech. Speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 6 seconds. I now call upon the government reply to conclude this debate.
Change we can believe in. That was something that President Barack Obama used in his campaign, and since this debate has gone so Pax Americana, let's see some of that. The fact is, when he made those promises, he didn't provide any tangible things. He provided a good paradigm for a shift for a healthier America. And that's exactly what Proposition is giving you today. What Opposition is telling you is that people are on bad things. We admit that. We're going to make those bad things less bad instead of doing the good thing. We say that in terms of queer change proportionality, that they simply cannot compete with today's proposition. But before we move on to the results of today's debate, let's ask ourselves 3 very critical questions. Number 1, should we keep our people healthy? Number 2, will subsidizing vegetarianism make them healthier? And number 3, should governments subsidize vegetarianism? So let's look at our first question on whether our people should be healthy. We gave you harms on the individual, national, and international level. And Opposition conceded to those harms today, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't concede to was our policy. They provided a different method of subsidizing fast food. We provided you with many problems of that model. Number 1, we told you that it's less effective than restricting people to a healthier diet. Number 2, we told you that there's no assurance that these firms are going to make their menus healthier. What they told them is that, oh, we can have government oversight, but look at AIG, that really worked for their bailout policy, ladies and gentlemen. And then we also want to talk about another part of their policy. So we gave you statistical evidence from the book Fast Food Nation, that even though that these companies get richer, that their menus don't get any healthier. And that's empirical proof that their policy won't work. We established a need for an alternative diet, and they never denied the effect of vegetarianism. In fact, the only one argument they had was no guarantee. They dropped the taxpayer argument and only picked it up in the reply speech, and they dropped the consumer interest argument in its totality. So let's move on to our second argument on will subsidizing vegetarianism make the people healthier. The key in Proposition case was incentive. We provided you 2 incentives, but Opposition only dealt with 1. We gave you the economic incentive in making these menus cheaper, that people in poor regions, even though they want to live a healthier lifestyle, cannot because they're dominated by poverty. So that opposition said, well, they're not going to eat it even if it's healthy. Not true. If they want to eat it and they can't eat it because of the money, if you make it cheaper, of course they're going to eat it. We also provided you another level of incentive. In our definition, from the get-go of our Prime Minister, we told you we're also going to subsidize promotional methods and research institutions. In my speech, I told you how you can extract the proteins from grains and provide better menus for meat lovers. That's something that opposition never came back to in today's debate. It's another method of encouraging vegetarianism besides the economic incentive. And also we wanted to talk about paradigmatic change. They said that Americans are addicted to fast food, and that's the only way we're going to have it. Well, we say that kind of bad paradigm needs to be shifted, and that the government needs to take a role in shifting that paradigm and not staying with the bad status quo. What opposition is doing is prioritizing convenience over health, which is precisely why we ended up with the fast food problem in the first place, because we wanted convenience, ladies and gentlemen. We also told you the problem of world hunger and how less grains would go to cows and more to people. And opposition told you, well, you're not decreasing the number of cows. But if you increase the number of vegetarians, you automatically increase the number of demand in terms of grain. Therefore, the demand will be shifted from beef to grain, and therefore more grain will be able to be provided. We also provide you examples of sin taxes, and also how there's a progressive trend. And opposition never responded to those real-world examples at all. In fact, opposition has 0 examples, ladies and gentlemen. We move on to the last part of today's debate then. So should governments subsidize vegetarianism? Yes. It makes our people healthy. And we say that it makes our nations healthy. It makes the international community healthy. And we say that today's proposition will not stand by unrestrained human greed and gluttony. And we will not let the opposition stand between the people and their salvation. But thanks very much.
House thanks both sides of the debate and request them to cross to check hands. Our speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 13 seconds.